But Bill's got a point that he would like to talk about. Do you not, Bill?
Yeah, I'll go for it. With everything that's going on with how you should play and what goes on in the Discord, I thought this was quite. I've had this question sort of in the background for a while, and I thought it might be a good point to bring it up and just discuss openly about what's our thoughts about it. But what are the good and the bad points of gamers telling you how you should play your games?
Hi, this is a topic really close to my heart, so can I go first?
Of course you can, Ash.
I absolutely bloody hate it. I personally think a lot of the enjoyment from video games comes from discovering how to play and discovering how you specifically enjoy playing, whether that is the way it's supposed to be played or or it's just like the way you want to brute force it. However, if someone says, how do I do this? And they're like asking, by all means, give them hints. It's when people say, like the difference between, hey, do you know you can use L1 to block? And I hate to use Dark Souls as an example, but I'm going to use Dark Souls as an example. And then people saying, oh, you need to do this for this boss, and if you don't do this, you're not doing it right, and of course you're dying, you just need to get good scrub. That's when backseat gaming just starts to get really annoying, when it's like unsolicited and people are just they just obviously think that they're so much better than you, or they think they're the best in the world. It happens a lot in fighting games as well. If you're not Daigo, don't tell me how to play Chun-Li, okay? Because I'm not playing at a competitive level. Anyway, I don't think there are many good points unless you ask for it. So.
Well, I've discovered a few good points recently from being part of the OLL community, because I completely agree with you. I hated people telling me how to play the game because I chose to play, a fighting game with a low-tier character. I don't care if they're low or high tier. I just think the character looks cool. That's why I want to play as that character. Or I'm using the wrong new subscriber. Is that Hyconic?
That's Hyconic resubscribing. Thank
Hyconic!
you. Thank you.
When I play an RPG or like say something like Dark Souls, and I'm not using the right weapon against the right boss, and there's an easier way of doing this or anything like that, it's kind of I don't always like having to change all my gear or setting myself up for a certain raid to be able to play. It's like, why can't I just play the way I've set my character up? Why can't I use the weapons I want to use, the armor I want to use? And then the people sort of extradite you from saying, well, you can't be in my team because you're a weakness, you're the weak link in our raid squad and stuff like that. So I hated all that. I completely agree with that. There was also another side of it where I think my friend never meant to do this at the time, but he completely destroyed Pokemon for me because he just got rid of all the immersion about what it was, because he turned it into a maths game where he started talking about the IVs and EVs, the hidden stats behind the Pokemon, and how you had to find Pokemon and then make them mates to be able to create a super Pokemon, and then you go through all this grinding, and then it might not be the right combination you want at the end, so you have to start all over again. And I just went, really? That's what Pokemon at a high level is all about? I really don't want to play it anymore because you've just turned it into ones and zeros, and it's awful. You just destroyed the whole immersion for me. So yeah, and the other thing about it I hate is that if you all play the same way because that's the way to play, no one finds any new strategies. And there's loads of videos. There's one I put in the Discord earlier this week where someone thought Sakura in Street Fighter 4 when she first came out was absolute garbage, but then someone chose her in an elite tournament and played and discovered this new way of playing. It completely turned everything on its head. And it would be such a shame if people don't actually give these new strategies a chance. So with all that said, I have noticed that some of the good points are things like speedrunning. So like me and John playing Sonic recently, and getting some top scores on that, sharing what we've learned with other people and then them sharing them back with us. I never would have been able to find out half the stuff that Squid Dude's managed to find out in Sonic without his videos. So I get that. I think that's a good point of someone telling you there's a better way of doing this.
See, I agree that's a good point for sharing tips and stuff, but I wouldn't necessarily say that was telling you how to play a game. At least it's not how I interpreted what you asked for.
No, I get it. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because that's just like the speedrunning community. You expect people to go, hey, your strat's really good, but like if you do this, you can shave a few seconds off. Because that's kind of the whole point. And I know that there are like the leaderboards and stuff, but it doesn't really seem like it's overly competitive when it's the same person constantly getting a world record over and over again. But yeah, I would agree. That's probably the only good point about it for me.
The other one I think is avoiding grinding. It might that you know when you come across something that could take you hours and someone finds like an exploit to help you get to a higher level quicker or get loads of items faster, stuff like that. I know I found that stuff with Destiny, Jack. When I played Destiny, there was a lot of ways to sort of kill the boss a lot quicker than sit there for hours and hours.
Yeah, there is. Especially if you take your mate in that's like so much higher than you. Like, yeah, it's like a lot of the times, like when I first started playing, and if my mate was like several levels above, he just like I'm doing it with Borderlands actually. He's helped me through the story, so I can then go through it again in True Vault Hunter. So he's like just speeding me through the story. So yeah, there are ways of doing that, but I am guilty of backseat gaming, and quite frequently, actually, it's really bad. I'll be like, my housemates will play like a game that I've played about 10,000 times. I'm like, do this. They're like, Jack, shut up, and I'm like, oh, okay. It's quite bad. I'll be like, my housemate will be playing, like when he was playing Witcher 3, and I'd never played it before, but I noticed something, and I was just like, mate, what about that? And he's like, I'm getting to that. I was just like, oh, okay, sorry. So yeah, I am guilty of backseat gaming. At times it has been like bad, because when I was younger, I used to watch like YouTubers that I liked to play like games that I liked, and then I'd see stuff on their screen and I'd shout at the screen. I'd be like, for example, there was when when Arkham Origins came out, a YouTuber I used to watch played it before I got it, and like I was watching him play it, and there was like bits of the level that he hadn't noticed yet, and I was like shouting at my screen like, it's there. So yeah, I am quite bad with backseat gaming, and I'm not proud of it. It's bad.
Yeah, I think there's a difference. There's a difference between what you're saying there and what the kind of stuff me and Ash were talking about, where people demand you play this way and.
Oh yeah, mine's more just like, I've done it before, so I did it this way. It might help. Well, I didn't say I did it this way, but not in like a pushy way. I'm like, why don't you try this? Or, oh, there's something over there, stuff like that. And it's just like stuff that I've noticed before them. And they're like,
because I know Ash, you've mentioned this before, where someone's come in and said you have to play this way and kind of called you out on streams because you're not doing it. And that's that. And I've had the same with fighting games where someone has, even though I beat them, they would shout at my headset saying, "You're not playing the game right because you didn't block when you should have. You didn't do the telltales. You're rubbish, and that's the only reason you won." And it's just like, what?
To be fair, sorry, can I quickly add something to this?
Yeah.
On my Control streams, there has been several times where like Cake for All has been incredibly helpful because they've played Control before, and I fought the fridge boss, so you fight like this fridge, and Cake for All actually told me a mechanic, again with like another boss as well, like a clock, and they were so helpful. So yeah, there is some good points, especially like people on my streams like recently with Control have been very helpful. So yeah, that's probably the good point for me in my experience. Like Cake for All has been very helpful, definitely.
I think it's different when you're streaming. For sure, because when you're streaming, you're doing it as a collective, aren't you, with an audience, and so you will want to be involved and you want to be talking about what you're playing and stuff. So Ash is going to disagree with me in a second.
I'm absolutely going to disagree with you in a second, but I will be polite and let you finish your point.
No, I'm not saying that I would always want people to be offering advice and stuff, but if you are doing it as a stream with other people and there's people watching you and stuff like that, and you want to have people's feedback and stuff, that's completely different to when you want to simply play a game your own way in your own time, when you're on your own, for example. No? What?
No, because I'm not playing the game to like on stream. Let's take Persona, because I did Persona 5. Let's take that. It would have been very easy for people to like come into the stream, realize that it's a game that I've not played before, and tell me straight away, oh, you need to You need to make sure you find out the enemy's weakness. You need to attack the weakness. You need to do this. You need to do that. Make sure you do this. Make sure you go here. Instead of letting me discover it on my own, I think a lot more enjoyment is had from like people interacting and discovering the stream together, or like I find it quite interesting to watch people play games that I've already played to see what they do differently, especially with things like RPGs and stuff like that. I don't think playing a game on stream or doing anything on stream is grounds for someone on the internet that you may or may not know to tell you how you should be playing, what you should be doing. Like, you can have a chat about what you're doing, but if someone is saying you need to do it this way, you're playing it wrong, that's detrimental to the streamer and the stream and the community.
I think it goes to what you were saying, differences in philosophies. Like, John, you chose not to play Resident Evil 8 on stream because you wanted to have your own experience and not have other people sort of get involved.
Yeah.
But I know what Ash is saying is kind of like, my opinion on things like Twitch is that you tune in to watch somebody, a personality, play a game, not to demonstrate necessarily that you know everything about this game and that's the only reason you're streaming. Whereas there's people out there that goes, if you don't know more than I do, you have no right to stream that game.
They won't stream it themselves to prove that they know everything.
Yeah, that's right. Whereas they're criticised to say that you shouldn't be playing this game online because you're clearly not an expert. But I think the whole point of streaming a game is because you're there to watch, the person who's actually streaming it and seeing their reaction. But like you say, your philosophy, John, which I tend to agree with in a lot of the games I play. I don't often play new games on stream, is because you want to get away from those potential people and play it in your own atmosphere.
Yeah, with Resident Evil Village, because Resident Evil is one of my favourite series, I didn't want to take the risk that I could be streaming it, and any random person could go, "Oh, there's a jump scare about to happen." That would be the last thing that I would want. And so I wanted to experience Resi in my own way, in my own time, and explore on my own. And I was thinking this actually while I was watching Ash with her Resi stream the other day. So I knew where, the little sort of surprise bits would be coming up. But the enjoyment of watching Ash's stream was knowing that I knew that in about 10 seconds this guy's going to come jumping smash through this wall, knowing that you didn't have any idea it was going to happen. And that was the most enjoyable thing, watching your reactions. But the best thing, when Ash plays scary games, as I've just discovered, Ash doesn't like to scream or make noises. Ash just freezes.
Yeah.
She just goes,
I got more scared on that stream where I played Resident Evil. I got more scared of a spider falling off my wall onto the floor, and I screamed at that. I didn't scream at anything in Resi though. But that's what I mean. Like that's part of the enjoyment. Is if I had people telling me in the chat, "Oh, be careful! There's a jump scare coming up," it wouldn't have been as enjoyable for you, John.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I get what you're saying about if you don't want to risk the spoilers, don't play it online.
Yeah. Just don't go on the internet. Have some self-control if you don't want to have spoilers.
Well, maybe, but I mean, there's the part that Ash is saying as well. And sorry, Ash, if I cut you off because I think you were about to say this. It's like,
oh no, I was going to say something different. I know what you're going to say, but
okay. I'll just, before you carry on, then I was just going to say that streaming online for me that I've found recently since lockdown has been very much like having people in the room enjoying the game with me, and that's the bit I really like about the games. So I can see both of what you're saying entirely. I don't think I would be the kind of streamer that would play a brand new game on stream and all the way through, like Resident Evil 8. I'd keep that to myself. But rediscovering Street Fighter 5 has been a real learning curve for me. But it's fun to sort of see people see me fail to try and get better as I progress. And I'm not having those people sort of tell me, get good scrub kind of thing. And that's nice to have in that community. Sorry, Ash, you were going to say.
I was actually just going to thank the community that watched me play my first set of Persona stream. Because it would have been so easy for people to come into that stream and just tell me what to do. But I put a little sign up that said, please don't spoil, please don't backseat. And I had absolutely no issues whatsoever with people, like, spoiling anything or backseat gaming unless I, like, asked for it, but then that's different because I was asking for advice. So I think a lot of it can be mitigated. You're just always going to get those nasty people who think it's hilarious to be like, here's the last trial of Danganronpa right at the beginning of the game, and you just go, yep, you're an arse.
Sorry,
I block people that do that on my streams. When people come in and they spoil the end of the game immediately, I'm just like, block.
Cider Snyder says the Persona community are mostly wholesome. Mostly. Mostly.
I thought that about the Metroid fandom until I got on Twitter.
Twitter is a place that is just, Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter is a cesspool.
It is very much so.
Twitter,
Great place for fan art though. I find recently.
Yeah.
Great fan art on there.
To be fair, I only use Twitter, obviously for socials for work, but personally I only use Twitter to read Elon Musk tweets. That's literally it.
What did he call his? Was it his son or daughter? Isn't it like?
It's like Ash Ash 12 something or other, and I'm like,
it's like
what, mate?
It's got like a pie sign in it and all sorts of crazy
I
stuff.
believe they call him Ash, but yeah, his legal name is like XA.
Oh, I need to change my name.
Blah, blah.
No, we're going to be on Friends. Oh my god, this is completely off topic. So the Friends reunion is on the 27th of May.
Why is that happening?
Don't care about it at all, apart from the fact BTS are going to be on it because their leader learned to speak English by watching Friends.
Wow.
Watches. No one cares. No one cares. Ash is just rambling about K-pop. But
That's fine.
There you go.
Talking of Friends, the reunion is the 27th of May, isn't
See
it?
what Ash was just talking about, John.
Yeah, I know that.
Bye.
No, I didn't hear what Ash said because of the music going over the top of it from the high Ash emote.
He said because of Friends, the lead singer of BTS learned English.
Yes, I know that.
He's going on the Friends reunion on the 27th, which Ash mentioned.
That's literally the first thing I said.
The funny thing about that is actually there's some sort of medical term for that where your brain doesn't register that you heard something, but it actually heard it, and you repeat it as if no one said it in the room, even though you were prompted by what someone else said. That's just what happened to John.
There you go. It's medical.
It's medical.
Alex does that to me all the time.
Yeah.
So I recommended an anime to him. I was like, we should watch Love Live. And less than 5 minutes later, he was like, we should watch Love Live. And yeah, I know. I just said that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I go into like robot mode sometimes. I'll be like, hey, how are you? And they'll be like, good, thanks. And I'll be like, hey, how are you? It's just like, or like, you okay? You okay? It'll just be like, robot.
You're just an NPC, Jack.
It's the NPC of OLL.
That's brilliant. No more Destiny Guy. He's not Destiny Guy no more. He's NPC Jack.
Right, we just need Bill to walk off now, and then John's offended everyone.
Yeah, with my Johnisms, as Cheney calls them. The Toddinator asked on the Discord, with the recent announcement that Sega are looking into rejuvenating old IP, what do you want to see resurrected? What have Sega not re-released or fixed or released that they really need to?
Well, this is in response to that business. I don't know if it was an email or a screenshot or something they released actually on Twitter recently, which had a bunch of IPs they were thinking about releasing and things like that. So this is what's in response to it. And it's quite funny because we actually spoke about this last week on the show as well, didn't we? About taking over companies and things like that. But I would say, and if you haven't guessed already in the chat, it would be Burning Rangers. I did a whole stream on the whole thing. I love that game very, very much. I don't think there's much else in the world like it. So yes, Burning Rangers.
What's Burning Rangers?
You play as intergalactic firemen.
Oh, that's cool.
Rescuing people and all that kind of stuff. It's got some very quirky and interesting ideas that no one's ever revisited in the same sort of way. I guess if I had to try and pin it down to nowadays, it's like a roguelike Mario 64 type game. So yeah, but you're putting out fires and rescuing people mixed in with that. It's very clever, very good. Has anybody else got any suggestions for me?
Yeah, I'm just looking for a list of like the top Sega franchises, and everyone generally the general consensus is that, you know, Sega have left their IPs alone, apart from like Sonic and a couple of others, and they don't do enough. But when you actually look back, a lot of games have actually had re-releases, remasters, and all that sort of stuff. For example, Toe Jam and Earl, that was resurrected last year, wasn't it? That comes out on the Switch, I think now, actually. Toe Jam and Earl, back in the groove. Good game, if you like your Toe Jam and Earls. No, just me, alright.
I couldn't get into
it's like Streets of Rage has obviously had new stuff. But maybe something like Space Harrier, something like that.
Yeah.
Give us some good shoot 'em up type stuff. Along with, I would like to see maybe not like a new game in the series. I don't think I need a new game, but if I could have like an HD remaster trilogy of Daytona USA, Sega Rally, and Virtua Racing, make it a quadrilogy and put Outrun 2 in there as well. Like a Sega arcade pack, a perfect arcade pack. On the new consoles, I'd be well up for that. Oh, Virtua Cop, good shout, Fanata. Virtua Cop with a 10-hour game.
I'd love light gun games to come back. I really would, because I enjoyed those a lot. I know there was a few on the Wii, but there was loads they missed off. And I know House of the Dead is coming soon as well, aren't they?
I think they would be a fantastic type of game to have in VR. When we get the next wave of VR come along, like when we get the PS5 version of VR and whatnot, there'll be another glut of new VR games. And if we could get something like a Time Crisis or something like that in VR, where you haven't got to walk around yourself or control your movement or your character, you just got to hold your gun up and shoot. Yeah, that's the way to go. Jack, what would you like to say? You don't have to put your hand up, Jack. It's not school.
I know. I'd quite like a remaster of Sonic Heroes. I like that game.
You know what? I think that would be
Sonic
if they had
Heroes.
Yeah. I'm not against that. Actually, they had another crack at that.
I love Sonic Heroes. It's a great game.
Well, Sonic Heroes had a lot of problems, but if they had another crack at it and tidied it up, it would be a really good idea. And I think that's where a lot of the 3D Sonic games go wrong. They try and do too much different stuff before they've condensed the original idea. It's just too ambitious.
The song was great. Like, I'd just be stuck on the title screen just listening Sonic Heroes. It was a song. I really like that game. It's like one of my favorite games when I was like younger because I had it on the PS2 and I loved it. It was such a fun game.
Yeah.
Sonic Heroes was probably one of the last Sonic games that I bought just based on the Sonic name. You know, Sonic started to go downhill from Sonic Adventure onwards. And
you got Generations, didn't you?
Oh yeah, Generations. They brought it back with Generations. That was good.
Generations looked really good.
But it went downhill for like 10 years between 2000 and 2010.
One where Sonic's a web.
Yeah, but I still purchased every Sonic game just out of my love for Sonic, and I think Sonic Heroes was the last one that I bought before I then finally said to myself, right, no more. He's had enough chances now. I'm not going to buy any more Sonic games unless I know they're good games, instead of buying them out of habit. But then Generations came along, and that was really good.
What's the one where Sonic's like a werehog or whatever, or like a?
Oh, would that be Sonic and the Curse of the Werehog?
No, it was called something Sonic Unleashed. That's it. Yeah. Oh well, was that just like a Curse of the Were-Rabbit type thing?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Which also, fun fact. Sorry, I'm going to steal one of your things, Ash.
Yes, I had Sonic Adventure 2, Emily.
Werehog doesn't make sense because werewolf was.
Were means man.
Yeah, so it's like man-hog, which
hog
doesn't make sense.
I mean, yeah, but that game looked alright, to be fair. I never played it, but it looked okay.
Before I go off on another point, Ash, did you have a thing you want to jump in and say? Yeah, I'll let you go.
I would like a new Jet Set Radio, just so I can watch Hideki Naganuma tweet whatever he wants on Twitter constantly. I mean, he does that already, but about a new game would be grand. But also, every single time we talk about Sega or anyone talks about Sega, it seems like everyone goes, Sega, they don't release anything. Like they've let all their IPs flounder. They do the Yakuza games. And Judgment, which have like yearly releases pretty much now. I think Yakuza Like a Dragon is the best-selling Yakuza game ever, like globally. So, sorry?
Lost Judgment is the new one, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not a Yakuza game. It's just you know the same type of game.
A spin-off?
It's just set in the same place. I can't remember if they said it was in the same world or not.
Yeah.
But I do feel like a lot of people just forget that Sega does those games, because every single time people talk about Sega, it's always Sega doesn't do anything. They have no good IPs. They don't have any franchises. Like IGN do it all the time, and I go, and then Yakuza.
Who watches IGN though? Let's be honest. Like,
oh, I watch it to laugh at them.
I mean, I find them What Culture just hilarious, and like Game Ranks, they're all hilariously bad YouTube channels. But
The gaming ones are.
yeah,
It's-
the only decent one I think is Outside Xbox. They're okay.
oh,
I like
no.
them, but like everything else is just.
The thing with Sega, which they kind of stumbled at, is that after the Mega Drive, where they made all their IPs, when they released the Sega Saturn and then the Dreamcast and everything else, they didn't follow up on the sequels that people were asking for. So the Sega Saturn never got a Streets of Rage or a Golden Axe, which is what people wanted from the Mega Drive, and then the Dreamcast never got your Burning Rangers and Night sequel, which were from the. And so they fragmented their fan base. And now the whole purpose of what I think they're trying to do now is trying to remind people what these IPs are, and then actually build a franchise out of them, because none of them are real franchises if they've only had one game. Like Skies of Arcadia sold really badly, which is why they've never released another game. But it's because they didn't market it right, not because it necessarily was a bad game or a failure. I mean, many people didn't even know it was out on the GameCube until it became a rare game you couldn't get hold of on anything. So yeah, I think there's loads of IPs that they just haven't put enough behind console by console when they were making things up. And what I say, if I say to John, name top 3 games in your Sega library, you'll immediately go to the Mega Drive. I think you guys are going to think more, maybe like you say, Ash, Yakuza and stuff, and things like that. I don't know what if I said to you quickly without thinking, what would be your top 3 Sega IPs? What would you say?
Sonic.
Yeah.
Jet Set Radio, and Yakuza.
Right, Jack.
Sonic.
The same ones as Ash.
Sonic Heroes. That's it.
Literally just Sonic Heroes
Puyo
from Jack.
Puyo. They do Puyo games as well, don't they?
Yeah,
I
they do.
haven't played many Sega games. I've played the original Sonic and then like Sonic Heroes.
Yeah, but already there as an example is such a difference, because they never released the games that John grew up with.
Yeah, it's true.
In the era that Ash was playing Sega games, and likewise, John, me and you are looking back at Mega Drive. Me maybe more Sega Saturn wise, because I didn't go off the Sega train until that point.
I'm Master System, mate. My first console that I bought with my own money was a Master System. So
Well, that's it.
Alex Kidd, Wonder Boy, Shinobi, stuff like that.
Yeah,
oh
that's
man,
it.
Shinobi!
Shinobi,
Why don't we have some? You know the Ninja Gaiden. Shinobi should be like a third-person hack and slash brutal difficulty Ninja Gaiden style game. Why do we not have that?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about last week, wasn't it?
In fact, I don't believe that there hasn't been a Shinobi game for ages. What is the most recent Shinobi game? There must be one.
Shinobi X on the... No, it was Shinobi on the DS. There was a DS Shinobi game, which was actually really good, but badly...
Nah, there must be some trash Xbox 360 Shinobi game. I don't believe it.
No, that was... There was some PlayStation 2 Shinobi titles. Shinobi Do and...
I've got to look this up.
But...
List of
But
Shinobi games.
Like you said, how good would be an open world Jet Set Radio game? It's just-
Trower Monkey Ball. Yes.
Yeah, Monkey Ball. That was another good one.
Wait, was that a Sega game?
Yeah, it was Sega.
Yeah, Monkey
I
Ball.
played Monkey Ball. There you go. There's my 3.
We'd probably know more Sega games if they just kept their saying. When they go Sega, if they would have kept that and not had like this Sega eye blinking thing. Do you remember that as a title role, and
Oh yeah.
when the logo came up and disappeared.
The best thing was the guy that just yelled out Sega. That was the best Sega advert they did.
It's all about the
let's have a look
branding.
here. Shinobi games. The most recent Shinobi game technically would have been Shinobi 3, which was released on the 3DS in 2013. But it's a game that was originally released in 1993, so you can't count Shinobi 3. Yeah, it was Shinobi Nightshade.
Yeah, that was the PS2.
That's 2003. What the hell?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right, a new Shinobi game, please, Sega. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, an up-to-date Virtua Fighter. Trower's here with all of the excellent suggestions
Virtual
tonight.
Fighter's coming. They're actually working on that.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
What?
Virtual Fighter is being made.
Is
They're
it?
actually, they're actually working on that.
Ooh.
And
It's finally in
Max
John's
on
face.
YouTube has been talking about that for a long time, so that's coming.
Interesting.
There are some titles they are working out and releasing. It's actually quite surprising. A lot of it, I think they've got like 10 IPs that have either been released, coming up, or under production. So they've listened and heard. But yeah, I mean, Skies of Arcadia and Jet Set Radio and all those ones, I think they're really the ones they could do a lot more with than some of the ones that maybe they've picked. But we'll see. I like them, but I don't know if it's going to make them money.